Hey everybody, this is Robert McNamara. I'm a senior attorney here at the Institute for Justice, and on this Friday afternoon, we wanted to take a little time to bring you up to speed on some of the things we've been up to this week. I'm joined by Josh Wyndham, who was up to one of our bigger things this week. Josh is another lawyer here, and Josh, this week you sued the state of Indiana. Why would you do such a thing?
I would, because one of these things is not like the other. Opioids, abortifacients, and eyeglasses. The state of Indiana makes telemedicine legal for pretty much all doctors in all contexts unless they want to prescribe opioids, abortifacients, and eyeglasses. And there's a reason for the eyeglass inclusion. Our client Visibly developed a way for customers to get a prescription for eyeglasses online by taking an online vision test. And unfortunately, there was a group of optometrists who lobbied for an exception to the law that would ban Visibly's technology. So that's why we sued.
So walk me through what Visibly is. I mean, you say there's an online vision test. Like, what is that?
Yeah, so the traditional way of getting your eyes tested for their acuity, which is how well you see, is by going into a brick and mortar optometry or ophthalmology office and by sitting in a chair and looking through that big clunky device with all the lenses and saying better or worse as you look at a chart. Visibly takes that same principle of reporting responses to what you see and developed a way of doing that online by using your smartphone and a computer. And your results are then sent to a licensed doctor through the software. And if they think it's safe to write you a prescription for new glasses, they'll do that.
And so it seems like that's particularly useful if you want to kind of get a new prescription. If you break your glasses, get new glasses. It sounds like a fast way to do that. Who has a problem with this?
Yeah, so it's optometrists, in particular optometrists who make most of their money by selling you expensive eyeglass frames in their offices. Optometrists don't actually make most of their money by testing your eyes. They make most of their money on your way out the door when you walk through their front office and the display room with all the frames, and that's kind of where their main revenue comes from. And so they lobbied for an exception to Indiana's law that would prevent online vision testing from operating.
And so this isn't IJ's first go-round with online vision exams. It's not our first go-round, actually, with this company as a client. We also have a lawsuit in South Carolina challenging a very similar law. Can you talk about why we have these two lawsuits and what we're hoping to achieve?
Yeah, so zooming out a little bit, the broader goal here is to recognize that technology is a way of expanding access to medical care, especially for people who live in rural areas or who can't afford to take time off work to drive to a doctor's office. Telemedicine is a way of expanding access to care. And it's not a legitimate use of government power to reduce access to care and to prevent those innovative new technologies from coming onto the market just to protect the profits of established businesses. So we've sued challenging a similar law in South Carolina that bans Visibly's technology, and the same thing is going on in Indiana.
Okay. And what is the lawsuit about? I mean, why is this unconstitutional in Indiana?
Well, it's unconstitutional because the government can regulate some of these, to protect the public health from harm. But what it can't do is use government power solely to protect the private interest of established businesses. We've sued under two provisions of the Indiana Constitution, Article 1, Section 1, and Section 23, and both of those protect economic liberty. Section 23 in particular prevents the government from handing out special privileges to favored groups, especially when there's not a legitimate difference between the groups it's differentiating between.
And so if you're an ophthalmologist in Indiana, you can use telemedicine, and you can use telemedicine to prescribe me eye drops or a bunch of other stuff. You just can't use it to prescribe glasses?
That's exactly right. I mean, doctors are actually free to, in all contexts, not just in the ophthalmological context, to prescribe medication and use telemedicine to do that according to their medical judgment, as long as they're meeting the standard of care and as long as the patient has informed consent. And doctors in all contexts are capable of meeting these requirements, and ophthalmologists are capable of meeting these requirements. They're just banned from doing so if they want to prescribe glasses.
Well, sounds like an exciting lawsuit. Sounds like a wonderful trip you've had to the Hoosier State, and we look forward to keeping all of you updated on what's going on with that and with everything else that IJ has going on. Thanks very much for taking a few minutes of your afternoon to talk with us, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.